today will be all about the weapons. So the main topics of this season for Milan Camp is the weapons. So again, if you want to see the best example for weapons, I would definitely recommend the Vietnamese lecture maps and then the Chinese lecture maps, because it's actually weapons. And then we have also Zombie Evil have a lot of guns here, but it's just a lot of random weapons that it doesn't have like upgrades, upgrade what do you call it? Upgrade lines, upgrade I don't know. The thing is, I haven't been able to understand everything in the maps yet because this hasn't been English. But I mean, if you want to get a very good example of weapons, try out this one from the Vietnamese lectures and this one from the Chinese lectures. The difference is this one is hand built, and I heard this one is download models from the library, but it's still follow up with the topics of the season. So the main things you have to do to get your map qualified for this event is have an upgrade weapon system. All right, that's the main thing. So here's the best example I can show you is in the Vietnamese lecture maps. So you have different type of weapons. If you have more types of weapons, you have you need at least like 2 or 3, but if you have more than that, you definitely will get more points on investment and creativity. So yeah, okay, so we have like this. So you need like different types of weapons, and then you need different upgrade levels. So for one weapon you can have like 2 upgrades or 3 or even 4 like this if you have time to invest. So just don't worry if you build more, because the more you invest in your maps, the more points the judge would give you, and that is for sure. That's something for sure. So yeah, you have different weapons, different level upgrades, and each weapon you need to come up with different stat and ability for it. So this is very important because this is also the main topic of this season. We call it weapon fight RPGs, and this map is like the very best example for weapon fight. And like I said, this Chinese maps also have good example because he has like upgrade system for the sword that he put right here. So you clearly can see that you can upgrade your weapons to another level to have different looks of the weapons and definitely stronger in power. So yeah, in terms of weapons, I think the 2 maps have very good examples. My maps, however, is another example. So I will only say this once, but for my maps, it's not about weapons like mainly, is about characters, NPC. I know that because I cannot build weapons very like good looking weapons or invested weapons. If you see the models and you focus on the weapons, you can tell that the weapons is very simple. And yes, I cannot build very detailed weapons. So because my main strength is on building NPC and models, I build that for the maps. But the topics, the main topic is still weapon fight RPG. So every models I build, they all have a different weapons, and each weapon I also include different upgrade for the weapon. So again, you still need to have different weapons upgrade like this. So like this, so level 1, level 2, level 3. So you can do it like this. If you don't know how to make a different looking weapons when it level up, you can add in ready sign like this, or you can use star sign like 1 star, 2 star, 3 star. You can have a lot of different ways to do it. Maybe you will get more creativity point if you do it differently, but maybe if you can build very invested weapon like the first 2 example, definitely do that for even more points. But hey, if you cannot build very good weapon, yes, you can build NPC model like I did right here. But make sure you include a unique weapons for each characters, because that is the main topics. And make sure you still have the weapon upgrade system. Alright, so in today's tutorial, I will show you how you set up different weapon class. in your maps how you set up the upgrade weapon system, how many ways you can do this. And so yeah, let's get right into it. So first, the topics for today is all about weapons. So first you need to know how to build the weapons for the maps. Maybe by now a lot of you have already stopped building your weapons or NPC with weapon, but I will just quickly show you again. If you want to build NPC model, you use these machine right here, these miniature workbench, and then you put the parts inside of the custom model editor to form something like this. This is basically an NPC, and then you just add weapon in, and then you can set up animation for it as well. So that's how you build NPC if you are going to do it. If you want to build a weapons like the first two example maps, you want to use this instead. This props miniature workbench. Why you need to use this? Because it gives you a more like bigger area to build the parts, so you can add in more details to the weapons. And yeah, you build big weapons with more details, you get a lot more points from building it. So yeah, this is how you build weapons. Also, after you finish, you can put it in the what is this again? Custom model editor, and add some animation to the weapons, like attack animation, whatever you like. So yeah, that's how you do it. And the other way you can do it is just like the monster, you can also go to the research libraries to get some weapon models. You get to category, you go to filter, you click on weapons, click confirm, and you have all kind of weapons model here. It's not loading right now because, like I said, the game still have some issue with multiplayer and online stuff. But yeah, you can always go here to check out the models for weapons if you cannot build it yourself. And keep in mind that if you are able to build the weapons yourself, you get more points for that. If you use models that are already made on the library like this, you still qualify for the topics, but you will not get as much points as the very invested player do. So yeah, there's a lot of weapons here. You are feel free to pick any you like and put in your maps. So once you have the models, or you build the models, then you want to add the weapons in your maps by plugins. So you just go to your maps, you go here, you want to create a props plugin. You just click on add new, create, and you create a mix. Then you add in the model for the weapons. Let's say you want this to be a weapon name and some description about the weapon attack and ability, like 10 attack, something like that. For attribute, actually this one doesn't have much, but for skill you can add in different type of skill. This one is destroy or create blocks. This one is push the target away. This one is push and attack the target. This one is give some kind of buff to you or the people around you. This one is summon some kind of creature. This one is recover your HP and hunger point. And this one is just shoot some projectiles out. So depend on what the ability of the weapons you want it to have, you can select these. Also, if you want to create a gun or bow, you can also select the bow here and the gun right here. Or you want to create projectiles for your weapon, you go here for the armor and projectiles. So yeah, that's all you need to remember when creating plugins weapons. Also, you can use these color code again to make the description or the weapon names more lively. Like you use hashtag R to make some thing red like this, like 80k for attack, and you push hashtag R, it will be 80k in red. If you want something in green, you use hashtag G like this, and it will be in green. Something blue, you use hashtag B for like SBD, and maybe something yellow, you use this. So yeah, that's all of the different code. You can make the description or the name of the items more lively, colorful. And if you want something to keep flashing, you use hashtag B like this, like weapons, and the name will be the name will keep flashing, I think. so it doesn't show here. But what hashtag B does is it will make the names flashing continuously. If I can show you an example, let's try to do this. So if I push hashtag B, actually no, let's push hashtag B down here and see if it will flash or not. Hashtag B, yeah, it will flash like this. So as you can see, it's just keep flashing like that. Sometimes it will be able to caught the attention of the player quicker if you do this. So yeah, that's also very nice tip to have in your maps. Well, I'm just lazy, I didn't add any of that because I have so many items. But if you have times and you don't know what to invest in, just do that. So yeah, that's how you add plug-in weapons in your map. Now let's move on to the weapons showcase area. So like you see in all the maps, you have like where you can showcase the weapon you have in your maps, how you can upgrade them. Or for example, in my map, I have this area to showcase my NPC instead of weapon. So if you have something like this, and then the player can start by choosing which weapon class they want to use, it would be very cool. And yeah, definitely have points for doing this as well. So if you want to do something like this, you first have to create a block of the weapon. So let's say I want to do this. I first need a weapons items, and then I need a blocks of that weapons in plugin. So in my maps, I don't have weapons, I have NPC, so I have blocks of NPC. So this is not NPC, but this is the blocks that have the NPC model. So after you create a blocks, you pick the model you want, like the weapon you want from the library, and then you add it in. When you have the block inside of your maps already, you can find the blocks in this section, or they will be all here. So you take the blocks and you place it out wherever you want, or however you want to decorate your showcase room. This is how I decorate my showcase room. If you want to do stat like this, it's very easy. It's actually just color code. I will show you. So this is how I do it. So technically it's just like color code and then some emoji like this, and you have a very nice stat board like this. If you want to do it like this, sure, you can do it. If you lazy, you can just write the weapon names and abilities, or you cannot even put on the board like this. But hey, you still want to display your different weapon style in your maps. Alright, so the next thing you want to do is, how can you do this? How can you make the triggers for the player to pick the weapon? So when they got in the maps and they want to pick one of the weapon style, they go up to the weapons they want, they click on it, and they got the weapons. Or they in my map, they transform to the NPC they want to play at. So how can you do this? So by triggers, of course, and I will show you how to do this. Alright, so how can you do the picking weapon class triggers? So let's go to tutorial here. Let's go for class select. Alright, first is if you have weapons in your maps and you want to do this, you need to have the weapon blocks placed out already. So now you set up the trigger for that weapons block you just placed out. So depending on how many different weapon blocks you have, you will need to set more trigger like this, okay? So the first thing is the event. You want to select player, click on blocks, and then for condition, you need to select block style. You go to block right here, go to determine block type, select the type of block in the event. This one you select template library. You gonna find your plugin blocks down here in customs, and you select the blocks you want. For example, this characters or weapons blocks. And then for action, if you have weapons, then you select player, you select add item, which means the player will get that weapon when clicking on that blocks. Alright, let's say they will get the weapons. If you have NPC model and you want to transform into the NPC model, it will be a bit different. Like I did say yesterday, you need to set up the plugins for the transform status first, and when you have the status, you will need to go to action, you go to player, you go to obtain effects, and then you select the transform effect that you already set up here, and then you select this to true, which means the effect will not disappear. So yeah, so if you're a weapon map, you do this action. If you're an NPC map, you need to set up custom effects, and then you set up this action right here. All right, so that is the class select triggers. But there's one thing: if you set up the trigger like that only, they will be able to do this. They will be able to get a limited amount of weapons like this. So whenever they click, they will get another weapon. So how can you fix this issue? So what all of the maps does is that they add an item that used to select which class you want to play. So you need an item like that. So in my map, I have these items that people can use to select which weapon they will play as. It's called the author coin. So the thing is, I give one author coin to the player when they enter the maps, and they use that to select the weapon class they want. And once they select it, as you can see right here, number 7 slot right here, once they select the class they want, the coin disappear. So now they cannot select any more weapons. Well, right now I have the trigger on, so yeah, I will turn that off. But yeah, so you just need an items to select the weapon class, and then the item disappear. The player cannot select a different weapon class, and they can stop playing. So now when they select a weapon class, they cannot select any other weapon class because they don't have the item to select the class anymore, right? So first you just create that item through plugins. It's very simple. It's just an items that does nothing. So you just create an items. Where is it? Like this. It doesn't have any skill, any attribute, just an item, and you add in your maps. Then you can set up the trigger. So using the same trigger I showed you earlier, but adding some more elements to it. So you add another condition. You need to add player. You need to select number of own items, and you need to set this to option equal to greater than or equal to play in trigger event. You need to select the item type to the select item that you create. In my case is this item, and then value you set up to 1, and that's the condition you need. And then action you need another action, which is delete the items. The player, you go to player, you go not discard means drop. You want to delete the item completely, so you want to select remove items, and you select the value to 1. You select item types to the items you set up again, and then your class select triggers is complete. So this is one triggers for one weapon class. If you have 3 weapon class, you need to set up 3 different triggers like this, and you just change the blocks depend on the weapons you want. You change the blocks, and the weapons the player will receive when clicking on that blocks. So depend on how many different class you have of weapon in your maps, you will set more trigger like this. And remember to name all of them so you can recognize which one is which. Like you can name them weapon class 1, weapon class 2, 3, 4 to keep track of the triggers you have. Alright, so that is the weapon select triggers. Alright, so now I will show you the upgrade system of the weapons, and this is the most important part of the weapon fight RPG maps. How can you create the upgrade system for your weapons? So now you have your weapons ready. You have the triggers for selecting weapon setup, and now you want to upgrade your weapon. So first you definitely need to make like different level of your weapon like this. So you have a level 1 items, and you need a level 2 items and a level 3 item. So you need to also set up like different attribute like damage, attacks, charge time, things like that, and you set up skill for the weapons. Different weapon class should have different skill for the player to choose from, and the more like higher level the weapon is, you can raise the attack of the weapons and maybe lower the cooldown time of the skill, things like that. You can also add in level 3 in the name, level 2, level 1, just to make it clearer for the player to know what weapons level they are on. Alright, so now when you have the different levels of weapons, there's two ways you can set up the upgrade system. The first is the most simple way and the ones that almost everyone want to use because it's easy and it's convenient, is the toolbox. I know, like, this item right here is not widely used in mini games and creative mode, but this item right here is very widely used in the survival mode. I know every one of you who have played the survival mode of MediWar know these items. So it used to create different things by collecting stuff and go through the recipe and then create it. So yeah, this is the one way you can create your weapons and upgrade stuff in your map. So if you don't know how to do this yet, first you need to go out to the plugin menus right here. You go down to the smelting recipe right here. You need to set up the recipe for the upgrade. So for example, you create a new recipe and it will show you a screen like this. So at this where you want to select the upgrade weapons that you will get when creating this recipe. You select that, and then down here you want to set up the ingredients you need to upgrade your weapon. So you need the previous level of the weapons and maybe some materials or coins from the games, and you just click confirm. There's one more thing right here you can set up is the craft impact. So if you turn this off, normally it's turned off, it means the player need to go to the toolbox to actually do this. If you turn this on, the player doesn't need to go to the toolbox to do it. So I will show you how it is if you haven't know. So normally if you turn it off, the player needs to find a toolbox and click on it to do the recipes like this. But what if you are out there fighting the boss and you cannot go back right away? So you tick the option on, and the player can always go here to their back. They go to craft, and they can also do it right here without the toolbox. So it's very convenient. So yeah, definitely recommend doing this. It's very convenient. You set up all the recipe and you're done. Alright, so the second way you can do the upgrade system is through triggers. And if you want to see an example about this, I think these two maps from the different lectures also use the toolbox, and the only example I can show you guys is the Vietnamese lecture maps. So this map doesn't have any toolbox. This map is purely triggers based. So the lecturers here use triggers to upgrade the weapons instead of the toolbox. Alright, so what is the pros and cons of this triggers methods? So if you can see right here, yeah, he used triggers for the player to upgrade the weapon. So when the player has enough coins, and they go here, they click on the next level, and they will receive that items, and it will consume all of their coins. So yeah, this is how you set up the triggers for upgrade. Okay, so right off the bat, I will tell you the cons of the method first. So the con of this triggers method is that you have to create plugins for the different level of the weapon as a block. So you can place it out so the player can see what they are clicking on to get. So you have to create more plugin blocks and place them out like this. And then you have to set up multiple triggers for this to work. So that is a lot more than one recipe. I mean, you still need to set up different recipe, but trigger is definitely more time consuming to set up. So that's the two cons. The third thing is that you have to set this up as well. You have to have a board, write how many coins you need for upgrading for the player to know. When you use the toolbox to do the upgrade system, it already shows you all the information you need to upgrade, so you don't need to write anything, right? So when you click on it, it shows you the full recipe you need to create something like this. So you click on something, it shows you the full recipe to create it. So yeah, and now for the pros of the triggers method. So what is good about using trigger for upgrades your weapons? So clearly the most like advantage of this method is that you can showcase all of your weapons like upgrade form even when they haven't upgraded yet. So the very most advantage is that when like someone play your maps and they haven't upgraded any weapon yet, but they can see what they will get when they actually upgrade their weapon. So the good thing is that you can showcase all of your creation using this method. So you can place out all of the weapons levels like this, so the player can see what they're gonna get. And yes, you will get points by this because we see you invest more triggers, and we can already see the models you set up for the higher levels, things like that. So if you want to showcase your weapons different level form, you can use the trigger methods. So yeah, the second like advantage I think is the upgrading process. So it's not very convenient for the builder, but it's very convenient for the player because all they have to do is click on it and they get the weapons very easy. If they haven't got enough coins, it will not give them the weapons, and it's very simple. So it's very convenient for the player to upgrade the weapons, but not very convenient for the builder to set this up. Alright, so even though there's more cons than advantage, like more disadvantage than advantage, I will still show guys this method if you choose to use this. Oh yeah, the one advantage more is that, like I said, you get more points because you actually invest in the triggers method more. So yeah, definitely will give you extra point for it as well. Alright, so how can you set up the trigger methods? So just like selecting characters here, you need to have different blocks for the weapons you will upgrade, and then you place the blocks out. You place different blocks out, so when the player upgrade the weapon, they just need to go there and click on it. So once you place all the blocks out, you just need to set up the triggers for the recipe. So instead of setting recipe in the plugins, in this method you set recipe in triggers. So let's say let's see you go event, you go player, click on blocks. For condition, you need two things. First thing is the player need to have the number of all item, the previous form of the weapon. So they need to have the weaker version of the weapons they are upgrading. So you're here, you go to wait. You're here, input 1, and you pick the item here from the template library, pick the weapons. Alright, and then you add another condition is how many material like coins or material the player need to have to actually upgrade it. So in my maps is gold coin, so I will select gold coin, and the amount I need to upgrade this weapon like 100, let's say 100. So as you can already see, this will take more time to set up than the plugin of the toolbox. So now you go to action. Once you have the condition ready, now the player will get the new upgrade weapon they want. So first the player will lose the weapons they are holding, so remove items and set up value to 1, set up the items to the weaker version of the weapons here, and then the player receive the stronger version, like the upgrade version of the weapon. So add items, select items, the upgrade version of the weapons like this, for example. Alright, and then they lose the amount of material or coins they need to upgrade that weapon. So player also remove items, and the value for upgrading, for example 100 items, go here, select gold coin, and that is how you set up one recipe for upgrading. So if you have more upgrade from more weapons, you definitely have to set up more triggers like this. So as I say, it's not very convenient for the creator to set all of this up, and it will take more time for you to do it. But the good thing is you will be able to display all of your weapons in the maps, and you get extra point for investing in this method as well. So depending on which method you want to use, just pick what you think will benefit your creation most. All right,